I got a job, Sinky Daly's, at an industrial house where they made management training films and educational films.
Exciting stuff.
Very exciting stuff. I learned Phone Skills was the title of one of our
Phone?
films. When to Put a Person on Hold. Everyone should watch this film, in all honesty. Phone Skills.
The first cut, the first cut.
I'll just teach you simple cuts to start with.
Welcome back to another episode of Craft Truck in the Cut. Nancy Richardson, Master Picture Editor. What is the dumbest editing note you've ever received?
I can't really say there's a... I can't...
There's too many to name?
No, I don't think... In all honesty, I think an awful lot of editing notes are smart. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll address your question with another... what's the dumbest editing note? And this isn't the dumbest editing note, but the most common editing note that you get is get the story started faster. Get the story started faster. Get the story started faster.
They want the first 10 minutes chopped off the movie.
Yeah, so all the character development, you know, get it started faster. Let's just, and I call this the get her to Oz faster note, because this was a note that was given on The Wizard of Oz.
Really?
By the studio executives, apparently, who were like, just get her to Oz faster. Just get Dorothy to Oz faster. We really don't. I really think that Over the Rainbow song is killing us. So they wanted to take out the Somewhere Over the Rainbow song.
Can you sing that song for us?
No, I can't.
Fine. So what was the first major milestone for you as a picture editor?
Stand and Deliver.
Right.
Was the first film.
We've interviewed Tom Richmond.
Oh, you have?
Yes, who I
that's
absolutely
so funny.
adore.
Yeah.
He said about it that their goal was to make the classroom itself as mundane as, like, they would cover the windows. They wanted the classroom to be completely unpicturesque.
Right. Shooting a classroom is a little tough because A, confined space, and B, there's a lot of opportunity to cross the line, so you have to make sure the eye lines are all correct. And Tom was amazing in that, where I would be looking at the footage and I would go, oh no, I can't use that. They crossed the line, oh no. And then the last shot of the day that they shot was always a shot that allowed me to use all the other shots.
Where the camera moved or somebody looked.
Yes,
right. Okay,
yes,
fine.
yes. And Tom was always totally aware of it and knew exactly what he was doing, and it was fantastic. But structurally, we did have issues that we addressed in Editorial, in that the film, there were two things. The film, our first assembly of it, and that was cut on film, so sad. It didn't really have an ending initially.
Really?
Didn't really have an ending. It just ended in an office where Edward James Olmos got the news that everybody had passed and what their scores were, and this was a 4 and this was a 5, and then he walked down the hall and that was it. And so you didn't feel the impact of this victory on the kids. Tom, actually, I think, was the person that came up with the idea of, for the ending, use shots of the kids from the first time we met them, like the dumbest time, when they looked the dumbest of whatever they were in the film, and put the voice of the guy reading the scores, you know, it's just a principal on a phone saying, Maria Diaz, 4. And you cut to Maria, who's sitting like in a chair in the front of the room looking like a dunce, you know? But she got a 4.
So you basically made the arc.
And the Lou Diamond Phillips one, I remember distinctly, he'd been shot against a blackboard. He had to stand against a blackboard because he was in trouble and being shot against this blackboard that was all art directed. And the art department had art directed it for the wrong day, so we could never use it for the scene that it was meant for because it was a continuity issue. But we got to use it in that last moment. So it was Lou Diamond Phillips against the wall, like counting his fingers or something, looking totally dumb and lost, and yeah.
So that became this beautiful little arc to
so that was just a, yeah, it totally worked. And the other issue we also addressed editorially, which is we took a scene that was a character development scene between Lou Diamond Phillips and his gang friend, and we moved it later. And it was just weird how it was a scene where they get in trouble with the cops, and Lou Diamond Phillips, they're basically being really cynical, saying, you know, we don't have any lives, and the stars aren't really there, and when we took that and moved it later, it played out, instead of a character establishing scene, it played out as a beat of disillusionment because of the accusation of cheating. So it was interesting.
And the scene didn't have to change. It was literally just taking the scene out of here and putting it over there.
Yeah.
And because of the thesis, antithesis,
because
synthesis.
of the context, you read it differently.
This is like an example of the Kuleshov effect, almost. In a scene, in a scene context.
Yes,
it's like,
it is.
You know, because what we saw before influenced what we see.
It's all about the Kuleshov effect. Yes.
Yeah. Do you live by that, sort of, in a way?
I think it's all about juxtaposition of, you know, yes, all day long. You can take a shot of an actor, you know, when they're breathing to prepare before
the scene,
before they slate, and move it, and people are always saying, we don't have a shot of her looking like that's really bothering her, and you can sometimes find it in these really weird places.
Let's talk about 13, because 13 kind of put a foot through cinema. You know, it left a mark.
Yeah.
This movie is really interesting to me, narratively, because it's kind of like, you talk about Get Her to Oz, going back to that note. There usually is a clean break. Okay, here, you know, this character runs into this situation, and now everything turns upside down.
Right.
And it happens like that. 13 kind of just develops into that. Like, you don't really see it coming. You know what I mean? Like, it, you know.
Well, but you know it's coming because of that first scene.
Because of that first scene,
because of the structure.
Yeah.
So,
but even
you're
as it's happening,
by, you know, when you see that first scene, you go, oh my God, what are these girls doing?
Yeah.
And then it cuts, and you see Evan Rachel Wood, you know, a few months earlier, really, going, Mom, and looking like she's a kid instead of, and it was a very carefully crafted, slow development of Evan Rachel Wood's character in terms of wardrobe and walk and behavior, and it was harder, it was a whole lot harder to move scenes around because you would upset that carefully planned.
Was there challenges in, I mean, Elliot Davis told us about shooting the whole thing handheld on the lightweight zooms and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Did that pose other, like, micro challenges as opposed to macro challenges?
Elliot shot it. It was, things were always covered in one take. There would maybe be 7, 8 takes of a master shot. And then there would be coverage. There would be a tighter shot on somebody that would also pan over there, that would also do this. So there was coverage that you could choose from, but the camera was shaky enough that there were a lot, very early on, like I would do a cut, and then I would go, I think we should play this in one. Like, here's a cut, here's the cut version, but here it is all in one, because the camera gave you the feeling that things were being cut. Sometimes there was these little zooms that felt like the equivalent of a jump cut.
Right.
And so you had to pull back, literally, on the editing because it was too much.
It was already done for you.
It was, the impression of editing was already there.
Let's talk a little bit about Twilight, because we have to. I mean, we can't have you here and not talk about a blockbuster franchise film. We can't not do it.